What's up and good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to another video. Now for today's video, I wanted to take a little bit different of approach. I don't think we've done like a business-minded talk video in a long time. And so some of you that may be new to the channel or have had a lot of questions, I seem to get a lot of repeat questions. I figured this would be a good video to kind of go over some things. So let's jump right in. Well, first of all, I think we need to clarify. A lot of people saw this plant in the background of my last videos, and this is actually a money tree. You guys can Google them. You can get them at the local Home Depot. They do call me Rhino the anti-drug. I don't do drugs. I don't condone doing drugs. I don't even drink. So, yeah, hate to break it to all the stoners out there, but that's not what it looks like. So, for those of you that have been watching the channel for a while, or for those of you that don't know, I own Work For It Apparel, which is an apparel company geared towards promoting blue-collar work, restoring pride in blue-collar work, and kind of promoting to the next generations and current generations that you can be successful working in blue-collar. College isn't always the answer. It might not be the route for you. If you like working with your hands, you like out there creating, getting dirty, whatever it may be, you can be successful, and you should chase that if that's what your passion is. One of my passions growing up was obviously construction, so I do have a construction company as well, but I always wanted to own a clothing company. And I've got one of the original high school ideas that I had back in the day. You know, bear with me. I don't really know what's in this closet, but let's see what we got over here. There's somewhere in here. Hold up. So, now don't laugh. This was like 9th grade Rhino. Me and my buddies were big into racing modified CRF 50s. That was like a huge craze back in the day. So we came up with Buku 50s. I don't really know where Buku came from. Obviously 50s. We rode 50s. So we came up with Buku 50s and Buku clothing. I don't know if you could see it right there. So essentially these were the first shirts we ever made. We had them made at the mall. They were like iron on. We paid way more than we should have for them. And we're like, this is it, boys. We're creating a clothing company. And well, unfortunately, I never really pursued that. Now, was Buku 50s or Buku clothing the best idea? I don't know. Could have been the biggest thing in the world. I mean, Supreme literally wrote Supreme on a bunch of basic t-shirts and sold them for thousands of dollars. So anything could work. But I didn't put in the time and the work into Buku. Obviously, I was in high school. I wanted to go ride dirt bikes with my friends. I wanted to go have fun. So that thing just kind of tapered off. Now, I'm not going to get into like the whole origin of Work For It. If you guys watch any of my lives on Instagram or my stories on Instagram, you'll kind of know where that came up from. But let's just jump into kind of how we are where we're at today. And a lot of that started not exactly right here, but in my house. And one of the things I've shown on camera a lot is like my whole vinyl decal setup, but I never really explained how I got into it. And it's kind of an interesting story. So this is not my first vinyl cutter. My first one was like a off-brand Chinese, I think all in, I was like 600 bucks with some like starter vinyl, plus the cutter, plus all the accessories, software, whatever it may be. So about $600 initial investment into the vinyl cutting. Now mind you, I didn't buy any of that for Work For It. That Work For It didn't exist at the time. And the vinyl cutter actually used to be in my bedroom, and it was in my bedroom for a long time, and hopefully again there's not too messy in my room, but the vinyl cutter actually used to live right underneath the American flag. I had a corner desk over there with a computer, and all the vinyl cutting happened right in here. And then because I was inefficient, I would actually do all the like trimming and everything downstairs on my dining room table, which was this table at one point until I completely destroyed the dining room table with knives. And eventually this just became a dedicated decal table. Now, anytime I purchase something, I want it to pay for itself relatively quickly because obviously like you're out a ton of money. You want that money back. So at the time, 600 bucks, I'm out a ton of money. I need to get that money back. And well, I just so happened to find myself a little opportunity. If you guys remember the Honda Grom motorcycles, they're little 125 street legal motorcycles, 3-speed manual, the things were awesome. When they first came out, I was one of the first people to get one. And well, that's where my opportunity kind of came out of the middle of nowhere. So my bike was, it was all black because you can only order them, I think, in black and red at the time. So I ordered an all black one, but I wanted to be different. So I went ahead and completely wrapped the Grom in a white matte carbon fiber, and it looked really sick. But now the problem was you had no decals on the bike itself. And while like a completely decalless bike might be some people's taste, I like mine to have like some factory look to it. You guys know with my trucks, like I like the interiors to look kind of factory. Same with the bike. I wanted it to look somewhat factory. So being that the bikes were so new, there wasn't really a place to go get custom decals for them. I decided can't be that hard to make them. This will be like the first thing I'm trying to do with my decal cutter. So the original Grom decals were these little Chinese cheap stickers that most bikes come with. And then I kind of reinvented them in layered vinyl. So this is actually 4 different colors of vinyl all layered up. Now I know it's a little cut. This These have been here since probably 2014. I don't remember exactly when the Groms came out, but let's just say 2014. I made my first little replica decal. And you know, I never did graphic design. I drew up the file. I made everything look great because you can't just find that font. And it weirdly, like, it all came together, and I put it on the bike and it looked great. And at that point I jumped on the Honda Grom forums because I was trying to find new parts. Like I said, things were like, we were the first to get them. So parts were just barely coming out. So when I posted a picture of my Grom on the Grom forums, everybody said, holy crap, where'd you get those decals? I want to paint my Grom. I want to vinyl wrap my Grom. I don't want to put just the cheap, basic, generic Chinese stickers back on. I want decals in this color or that color or that color. And I was like, well, I can make them for you. And thanks to that, I'm sorry it's a little dark in here, I was able to pay for my decal cutter in, I would say, less than a month. So I've got, this is my old little decal station here. So I apologize if everything's a little weird, but I used to make Grom decals in all kinds of colors, even the little fuel injection, whatever decals I had going down the side. And then some people wanted like the European version, so I started making those. And those started selling so well that I started making like little Grom promo decals, which you can see right here. And then we spiced it up even more, and I just started, literally, I cornered the entire market for Grom decals. Or really created a market, because there was no market for it at the time. So that was how I really got my start in like decal making. And luckily I did, because eventually, you know, I got kind of over selling Grom decals, but I stopped riding it, I sold my Grom, and I just kind of like lost the passion for Groms. And to me, if you don't have the passion for it, like, it's hard to keep doing it. But once work for it became a thing, I knew like, all right, I've already got an entire setup here. I could do all decals in-house. I can keep the quality control that I want. Plus, nobody's really crazy enough to mass produce any multicolor vinyl decals. Trust me, I've asked around. Nobody's crazy enough to do it. The amount of time and work that goes into them, everybody thinks I'm nuts that I even still make them. But again, like, you guys love them. And if you guys love them, we're gonna keep making them for you. And for those of you that have never seen like how multicolored layered vinyl decals are made, I've kind of saved some of the steps here just so you guys can see. First off, we cut all the red. Then you need to apply the transfer tape, which is on this roll right here. And what that's gonna allow you to do is lift the red off of here. Well, while that sits over there, you then go and load a different color into the cutter over there, and you cut all the white. So now we've got all the white, which obviously the work in it, because the 4 is going to be in red and go in the middle there. So I'll try to make this look quick, even though it's not. First, you gotta weed out all the vinyl. This is called weeding, and I know we just talked about the plant downstairs not being that. So unfortunately, like, yeah, this is what it takes, every single letter. And depending on the temperature, the humidity, the blade depth, some vinyl being a little bit like microscopically thicker than others, it could affect the way that it weeds. So there's a lot of factors that goes into this. Then you get to come in and pick all the center of the O's out. Now that we have that done, we're gonna take our 4s. We're gonna pull the backing off, put our wax paper over top, take our white, work in our it, and at this point we transfer to the light table, or I don't even know what you would call this, but I didn't want a light table that's flat on the ground because gravity really helps you for this, so I kind of built this one to fold flat up against the wall. Make sure all the letters are right and lined up together. Cool. Then we remove the wax paper, throw our decals down, make sure we squeegee everything nice and tight. Then you still need to come in and obviously cut them into individual decals, which is, you know, all done still by hand pretty much, with just a ruler and a box cutter. And I've gotten pretty good now to where I can do it essentially by eye, and they are about as dead nut straight and consistent in sizing as can be without having any sort of jig. And there you go. There's 4 decals. So up until not that long ago, this whole setup was still like going on in my bedroom. Then we finally upgraded to turning one of my guest bedrooms here into an office space. And you guys have probably saw that, I don't know, in videos like a year or so ago where this was all decked out. This was where work for it essentially became like a real, I don't even know what you call it, but it had its own dedicated space, which I had never had. A lot of our inventory, I mean, you can see now it's, you know, still eventually going to become a closet for my girlfriend, but a lot of the inventory was stored there. Plus my whole loft was all shelving, and that was all extra inventory as we grew and grew and grew. And eventually, well, we outgrew the house, which I don't know if I ever really anticipated that happening. Now, since obviously we outgrew the house, what was the next step? Well, let's take you there. And that is jumping up to our 2,500 square foot warehouse, which obviously we're in right now, and you guys have seen in a lot of videos. Growing up, I don't know if I ever anticipated that like I would have my own clothing company complete with our own warehouse to where we do all of our shipping and fulfilling out of. But one thing I always wanted was just a giant warehouse to essentially be a fantasy factory and do whatever we wanted in. Like I wanted a go-kart track in one corner, a half pipe in another spot. Now, obviously, we don't exactly have a ton of room here to do that kind of stuff. But considering we're going from a 10-foot by 10-foot basically bedroom turned office and a little bit of a loft that we use for overflow storage to this big beautiful place, again, like we're stemming from this little crazy idea that I had, and because I taught myself to do some vinyl work. We aren't talking rocket science. So obviously this is Work for It World Headquarters 2.0. I mean, we've got our full upstairs office where the podcast studio is. I mean, you guys have all know this whole tour here, but again, this is for people that don't really know the channel. We've got our whole shipping and warehousing department in here, and to the point of where we've actually outgrown this room, and we're kind of looking as to how we're going to expand. And that's with us being pretty empty right now, because obviously with the holidays we sold out on a ton of stuff. So trust me, all that stuff's coming back in stock soon, don't worry. Now I can honestly say I didn't know what the next step of Work for It was going to be as we were slowly growing, and I've honestly kind of just let things like organically grow and do their things, and I don't want to ever sell out. You know, I want to keep quality control tight. So that's why, I mean, we could probably be a lot bigger if we just like cheaped out on everything that we do. But that's not the way that I like to do things. Anything that's got my name on it, I want to make sure it's done right. I mean, you guys see from the handwritten letters that we do to, I mean, I'm OCD about the way the tape is and the label is on the box. Like I want to make sure everything's perfect. For the first 2 years of Work for It, I wouldn't let anybody touch any packaging, boxing, any of that stuff. And it was really hard for me to finally like turn that over and realize that like this is too big for one person to handle as we've been growing. And apparently there's been a birthday in here today. But the main reason I wanted to make this video, and I know it's short and it's kind of a lot of rambling, was for everybody out there that's got some crazy idea, or everybody's telling you that's crazy, go get a real job or whatever it may be, as long as you apply yourself, do quality work, and you find like just find something that you enjoy doing, you can really take it to bigger lengths. I mean, greater lengths than sometimes you can even imagine. And all it takes is having just a little bit of ingenuity and not being afraid to try. And that's like one of Dave's biggest thing he always says is don't be afraid to try. And trust me, some of the stuff that we've gotten into, I'm like, Dave, we shouldn't do this. This is a bad idea. And he's like, well, let's try it. But keep in mind, you know, we started with a small decal cutter, making Grom decals that paid for the cutter, and then basically repeat, scale up, do bigger things, and kind of expand. And then this is where we are today. So I look forward to this year. I'm eternally grateful for all of you guys that are following us on the journey, whether it be the channel, Work for It, Instagram, coming up to us at shows, whatever it may be. You guys are absolutely awesome. We wouldn't have any of this without you. So I am eternally grateful to you guys. And I don't know what the year is going to bring. Hopefully we have another killer year and we can bring you guys a lot of awesome content, and we continue to grow and bring my friends along, and let's just do cool stuff. That's what we love. So with that, we're going to wrap up this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that you do not miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, you got to be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.